Hello, viewers. Welcome once again to your very own STAVKＡ podcast. Today we have with us Colonel Shekhar Attri sir, who has served in the Indian Army for close to 20 years. In today's episode, we'll talk about his early life, his days in the academy, his tenure in 2 Para SF, and few of the combat operations that he was a part of. We'll also talk about his days as the commanding officer of 12 Para SF and his post-army life. We hope you enjoy this episode. Jai Hind. Thank you, sir. Welcome to STAVKA podcast. It's amazing having you here. So,
Thanks,
we'll start by learning a little bit about your early life. So, if you can give us a little idea about that.
Okay, so first of all, Aditya, thanks for having me on STAVKA. And I remember initially when you reached out, and I mentioned it to you as well that do you know what STAVKA means? And since I was in Wellington once upon a time, and STAVKA happens, if people don't know, it happens to be the residence of Field Marshal Manekshaw, and he's named his house as STAVKA. So we all in staff college, whenever we are there, we definitely make it a point to visit his home, although he's not there, but there's a caretaker and he takes you around the trip, and it's really inspiring once you see the field marshal's accommodations and the way he has lived his life. So to begin with the personal life, yes, I belong to Dharamshala, a small village near Dharamshala in Himachal. You would have seen the place is scenic and beautiful in the cricket matches. It is much more than that, and the experience is amazing. Coming from a small village, my father was again in the army, and we stayed back at home. He was all over the countryside, so we studied in a local convent school. And yeah, apart from the schooling in those days and what I look at today, I think our parents were more open to experiences, us experiencing our own lives. We were trekking as young as in class 8 or 9. We were going on independent group trips or overnight treks and all those things. Uh, yes, so that did mold a lot of character, where we look at sweating it out, being a part of a team, having good friends, the value of friends, and the society as such was more integrated than what it is right now. So even when I go back to the village now, the old people will still call me over, have a cup of tea, or they'll just catch me walking on the route and just pull me into their homes, have a cup of tea and talk. Uh, yeah, so come from a place which was very, very socially integrated, and the experiences were amazing. And I'm lucky to have had those experiences early in life. So, yeah, post my class 12th, I then moved to my hotel management in Bangalore. That is the first time in 97 that I came down to Bangalore. From here, I moved to NDA, and so means I already had a option to work in the corporate, but then I chose the military life, being in a military family, fifth generation to say. And yeah, so that's how it has been for me, the young life. I have a younger sister. She is again settled in Delhi, and my mother is holding the fort back at home. Personal front, my wife and two daughters are here with me in Bangalore. So that's how I'm placed as of now.
Right, sir. So, sir, like you mentioned that your father was also in the army. So, how was life as an army kid growing up?
See, means I wouldn't have gotten much experiences since we stayed back home. We never moved around with him, and for the main reason of education. And those times, finding good schools was a problem. So, luckily, close to me there was a good convent school, and close to our house. So, parents decided that it's better to have your kids have good education rather than move around the countryside. But yes, we used to join him on our holidays, uh, varied places, varied experiences, and that again, interacting those times in all those places, it opens up your horizons as well. That how big the country is, how are the cultures in those places, and especially with the other military kids, Things are very flexible. There are no pseudo walls. You become friends in 2 days, and then you are okay to make friends, and you're okay to move away as well. So that kind of mental mobility or kind of strength that a person develops is again has always been there. So yeah, that was as growing as a kid means. That's how I look at it.
Right. So you are fifth generation soldier, right?
Yes.
So, so how are other careers perceived in army families? Uh,
No, there's means it's not that there's only life in the army and army is the best and there's nothing outside. My other uncles are not. Uh, they one of them is was or in fact has served in the BSF, but the other two are not. So we are pretty much okay. And in the military life, what it gives you is the capability to choose anything. So that's what I found in my own personal life as well. That my father was not stuck on that. No, you'll do only engineering or you'll do only medical or something like that, which I'm sure that many parents do today. That if you're not doing that, you're a loser. That was never the case. So at one point, in fact, I had cleared the NIFT exam and I had cleared the hotel management exam and I had not cleared any of the engineering exams. So it means not that I was looking forward to it. Even I never looked forward to it from that point of view. But then, yes, the kind of again, my father experienced so many things. So it's not that you'll join the army or you'll not join the army is up to you. Whatever you want to do, we'll support you with the best of our capabilities. That kind of independence was always there. So I never got pushed around by my parents by their expectations, so to say. So that ways, yes, it's been pretty open and pretty enabling and atmosphere in my family that ways.
right. So, sir, now coming to your SSB experiences, you mentioned that after class 12 you came to Bangalore for your hotel management. So, how did NDA come about in that scenario?
NDA was always in the picture because at that time there were not many options after class 12. It was either engineering or medical or join the armed forces. Luckily for me, there are around eight of us from the same class who are serving in the army today and gone the NDA route. And so it was means a cultural thing kind of thing that you have to appear. So I did appear after class 12 as well. I did not clear the SSB. I cleared the written exam. I thrice, yes. So first time I did not clear the SSB. Second time again I did not. And when I joined the college, I had again appeared for the NDA exams in between, and I cleared. And then from the hostel, I went to the SSB. That's how it came about. And yeah, so the third time I got lucky, so to say, or I was there where the army wanted me. So that's again a good learning lesson for me personally, and that nothing is constant because whatever I was being judged against was a constant standard, right? But a person is always changing for better or for worse, and your life experiences, the way you are living your life and the way you're moving ahead, you learn a lot of things which you subconsciously, which you don't realize at that particular time. Being at home, you're in a protected environment. Uh, there's somebody to take care of everything for you, and hostel life is totally different. You're all by yourself in a big wide world, and especially in those days, ragging was not looked down upon. So yeah, that again gives you a good experience of life, experiencing the bonhomie or experiencing the stresses, and makes you stronger, I believe, and makes you more independent and more confident of yourself. So that's how maybe in the third time around when I went, I think those traits had developed, and that's how I was able to make it to the armed forces or to join NDA.
Yes, sir. So, how was your experience in NDA like?
NDA was amazing. Best 3 years of my life was in NDA. I can say it without a doubt. And you ask carrying ex NDA, it has been a constant thing that if after 22 years we still connect as course-mates, yes, definitely. Course-mates in my SCON, we are connected like anything. And even the squadron mates, seniors, juniors, irrespective of which year they were there, if they ever have been alumnus, we are connected. So the experience is why it makes it so special is that you join after class 12, and again, it's an independent kind of thing where you all of a sudden find yourself in a new place with a new culture, the culture which aims at strengthening you both physically as well as mentally. You have to, the end state and product, desired end product is that leader who is able to survive in war, lead in war, and win in war. And so, that having been said, everything about NDA is driving towards that. So I remember uh, first term I was one of the earlier cadets who came before the academy came in from their break. So there was not many people, only the key appointments, the senior level appointments, and us as first timers. So we did not really know what was happening and how things were, how structured things were. Everything happened by the minute, including your waking up, having tea, or having a shower, or having brushing your teeth. Everything happened by the minute, and the way your room was supposed to be laid out, even the handkerchief had a place, and even your comb and brushes had place. They could not be out of that place. So means that kind of structure, I think it was amazing. And what it does is brings you, uh, integrates you at all the levels, be it at physical level because you're staying in those common spaces 24/7, and also in the mental level that all like my course mates, there were 20 of us, so all 20 have got the same routine from morning till evening. So now you know that if you're doing bad and he's doing good, you can always seek out his support because all of you are in the same mental space as far as capabilities are concerned. So yes, that does integrate a lot of things. Luckily for me, I would like to make a special mention here. I was part of golf squadron, and when I joined, we were like 14th in the academy out of 15 squadrons in the overall. Uh, what we have something called the squadron championship, which gives you points for every event that you participate in, inter squadron competitions, and all those things. So we were 14th. So we are not in a good place. One could see that, and from there, we as first timers were very lucky that we saw the transformation in the squadron, the way we approach things. First time was all it's pure and simple ragda, and without any rhyme, reason, logic, any purpose. It was pure and simple, and we took it at that. From second term onwards, I think the things changed. You Maybe it came down from top, and there were good officers who were leading us or guiding us as directing staff. They were good counselors that we had. And also, we saw a shift in the approach towards doing things. In India, there's a big thing that, firstly, your personal capabilities. You have to pass your physicals, you have to pass your written, and they contribute towards your scoring performance. That is one. Second is you have to participate in team events, and team events such as cross country, in which everybody has to run the 12-kilometer run and be graded according to your running capacities, and then subsequently games, sports, and yeah, mostly that. So you are contributing at the personal level as well as the team level. So you cannot be lagging behind, and that's what made us what we were. We transformed the entire thing where everybody started thinking with the purpose that, okay, this term we have to be champions. And it was just that transformation and reinforcement of the transformation. Second term onwards, I think we really let go of everything, and we started working towards that. Uh, Second term, we came second. Third term onwards, we were champions throughout till the time I passed out. So, why I say that this is important is because I've seen it from the downloads to the tops, how teams work, how teams come together, and what drives them. And I mean, it was an amazing experience, and that kind of purpose as a team. I have been able to generate it over the period of time in multiple capacities, and that has been the real success story of being in NDA and not coming direct, because the exposure is very long and very, very sustained. So you pick up a lot of things get verified. You might think that, okay, I must be like we have in NDA prayer, choose the harder right instead of the easier wrong. So for people, it might just be a good sentence or a good phrase. We have lived it in our lives, and we have chosen the harder right, and multiple times in the service as well. And when you have that kind of doubt that should I do this? This is a easier thing to do, and this is the tougher thing to do. What should I do? You chose the harder right. That gets ingrained into you. Mind your subconscious tell you, hey, choose the harder right. So that's how NDA is, and that's how it turns, like they say, it turns boys into men. So that's how we came out of it once we were out and went to an IMA. So that's the thing, yeah.
Yes, sir. So it is also said that when you're between those 3 years in NDA, you don't miss it much, but after you pass out, you start missing it. Is that the case? Because the kind of ragda that you guys get, it's very
Yeah, I mean, you're
tough
right.
to go through. Yeah.
So you got something called DLTGH, days left to go home. So when you reach the academy after term break, it's exactly 154, 22 weeks. And every day on the academics classes, somebody will write it on the whiteboard, DLTGH 154, 3, 4. So, means everybody is looking forward to go back home. But then once you are home, you are looking to come back,
Yes.
because you don't get that kick at home. So out of the 6 term breaks that I had, which are roughly around 4 weeks each, I think I've gone on only 2 full term breaks. There are also end of term hikes or activities that the academy organizes, to go mountaineering or to go sailing or to go all these things, which you do during the term break for a week or two. So most of the term breaks after for the first two, when I got bored, silly. So I would start attending those, and that's where again I built up a lot of skills in mountaineering and all. So yes, after you are out, definitely you miss NDA, because nothing against anything, but NDA is how forces is supposed to function. Means if you look at it, whatever is written on paper is put on ground, and in action, in thoughts, in spirit, it's as per the desired way an army is supposed to function. When you reach IMA, you find so many loopholes in the system. So that you're not even focused on in NDA, means it's such an upright place to be trained that you don't even look at doing those things when you are in NDA. So yes, definitely that's the thing you miss, and the grandeur of the place. It simply does not dawn upon you until you have moved out, because once you're living there, it's like ghar ki murgi dal barabar. But once you move out, then you realize that wow, that is such a grand place to be in, and such a historical place to be in. So that's how I look at India now. Yeah.
Right. So how was your IMA experience after you passed out and went to IMA?
IMA was nothing, means heartbreaking, because it's more difficult for the direct entries, I believe, because they're coming from the college backgrounds, and then they joined 6 months before us. We joined directly in second term, and most of the syllabus be it your physicals or be it your academics, we've already covered in NDA. So it's just repeat for us. The same routine goes on for another year. What makes a difference is that uh, the direct entry course mates, they bring a different perspective altogether to the military way of life, their worldly wise ways, and so to say. So yes, things become a little more grounded, as in realism hits you that yes, this is how the life in army is going to be. There are going to be multiple type of people who are going you're going to be working with. And but IMA, yes, one thing was definitely sure: the instructional staff again was superlative and super committed. And since it was more of a military focused approach now, rather than an all arms, all services, tri services kind of atmosphere, uh, our guidance towards the arm specific realities which we will have to face subsequently. Because at that time, if I remember correctly, JNK was pretty hot. Uh, it was just before Parakram, and Northeast again was not very stable. So yes, there was a lot of emphasis on how to lead teams and leadership and combat experiences that people would share. Staff instructors they would share. They were like really amazing and very inspiring. So that was the thing that I picked up from IMA, and subsequently, yes, we had. The choice of arms, surprisingly, infantry was oversubscribed, which is generally looked down upon as a choice of arm. Uh, in our course, there were many more subscribers to infantry than there were vacancies. So some people had what they say to become a casualty into services. Casualty as in you chose infantry, but you did not get, got a services. So some people would, as a trend goes, people would choose services over infantry or fighting arms. But we reversed the trend because we were so pumped up about the things that were happening. And Kargil did make a big impact on our training curriculum as well, because we joined around 2 years after Kargil. So yes, the kind of lessons that we had learned there, we had put it into motion. And as leaders, we were the first ones to receive that kind of attention towards conducting operations at various terrains. So
Yes,
yeah,
sir. So, what were the changes that were made post Kargil in your training regimes?
I mean, we had quite a number of instructors who had come back from the combat experiences.
Okay.
And we had not only just officers, even Jawans and JCOs, and who had gotten gallantry awards as well. So they brought their own experiences to the fore as to what works in combat, and it was nothing structured, but as in more experiences to the on-ground training, the realistic, practical, hands-on training, and modifying this exercises with more of a realistic kind of things which happen in actual combat, that nothing falls as per plan. There is some kind of contingency that will always pop up. So we were prepared mentally as well as through training to be prepared for contingencies, because contingencies is how the war is fought. The broad plan remains what it is, but then you have to move from one contingency to the next. So that's the thing.
Yes, sir. So, just hearing those experiences from people who had been there in Kargil would have made a very positive impact on cadets there. Right?
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, as youngsters who join, who are yet to serve in the armed forces, and hearing those first-hand experiences, uh, it does really see. Before that, any knowledge that you have is only through media, right? That media will tell you, okay, this has happened in the war, this has happened in the war. You see it in a movie, but once you meet a person face to face, and then he tells you that we were called gentlemen cadets, right? GCs to be short. So some weapons training instructors, we were like fooling around with the rifles. They said, GC, जब मैं ऊपर था तो राइफल में रोक पड़ गया था, तो मैंने फौरी इलाज का कार्रवाई किया, तो मेरा राइफल फायर करना शुरू हो गया, क्योंकि वो मेरा उस्ताद ने 100 बार कराया था, तो मेरे को जब सिर के ऊपर से गोली जा रहा था तब भी याद था। तो आप भी उसको ध्यान दीजिए, नहीं तो कल को अगर राइफल में रोक पड़ गया तो आप कुछ नहीं कर पाएगा, और आपके पीछे जो 30 जवान होगा वो भी कुछ नहीं कर पाएगा। So means that kind of hair-raising experiences, that this is what the combat applicability of removing stoppages in your weapon is. So that really puts things into perspective, right? So that's how we learned or we experienced life during our times. We're lucky to have that, definitely.
All right, sir. So previously you talked about like loopholes, right? NDA mein there are not many loopholes. IMA mein there are. So what are those loopholes that you were mentioning about?
Because then NDA is very, very centralized kind of working system, and the cadets run most of the training, in the sense that the formal training is just structured for 1 hour in the morning, that is PT or drill. Then you have 5 hours of classes, academics, and evening 1 hour of sports. So that sports again is not monitored, and the entire process is mapped, but the instructors interact with you for maybe 5 or 6 hours a day, and the rest is left to the cadets, the appointments, senior cadets, and all those things to run the show as per the requirement, as per the laid down time and schedule, which they do in letter and spirit. Okay. In IMA, firstly, the organization is very, what would I say, it is more decentralized, and there are loopholes in the sense that if there is going to be uh, early mornings, especially in winters, is very painful to get up, right? 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and Dehradun winters. So, yes, people would not want to go for the morning PT or drill, so they would just send an excuse through the appointments, and appointments would forward it to the instructors. And it was taken at that. There was not much checkbacks. So I don't want to get people at getting trained there now to get into trouble, but then that's how it was. People would not go for PT or drill, and there were some who had like quid pro quo, that I'll not go for PT today, you don't go for PT tomorrow, I'll cover up for you, and I'll say he's sick. So something like that. So that's how, means we realize that, oh yes, means going to PT is not a norm, it's a choice that some can make, and so that's where we realize that, oh, ऐसा भी हो सकता है, that so yes, I mean, small thing, but yes, then it was big for me that being unethical about whatever you're supposed to be doing is being taken as a norm. So yes, that's how the loopholes are.
Yeah. Any IMA stories that you would like to tell us?
I have a story. We were living in most of the IMAs on where you see the Chetwood Hall. It is around that. We were living in Tons. There is one battalion of 3 companies, which is in Tons River, which is totally cut off from the rest of the academy. So we call it Khada, because you have to go down a steep slope and then you reach this place. So Khada had its own history of doing things the way they wanted to do, because they had backdoor approach to go out and come in from the academy without using the main gate. So we used to go through the Forest Research Institute gate. So there was a back road along the river Tons, which we would take and go out to the city and come back. So people did get caught, including myself, uh, missing from company without proper authorization. But yes, we had cars and bikes in our platoons and companies, which was again unthought of. Cadets would get it, local cadets would get it from their homes and keep it in one of the rooms locked up or something. So, yeah, that was interesting. Secondly, there were a lot of stray cows that used to come. Uh, in the fields, in the playing fields. So in the evening when we used to go for games, while coming back, we used to catch hold of one or two cows. We used to look, okay, this is going to give us some milk. We have to get it back, milk the cow, drink the milk, and leave the cow. So, nobody would complain because people who leave stray cows, they were looking at milking them back at home, but then their cows would be dry. So, yes, that was a routine with us. That was one of the interesting parts of being in IMA. And
Right.
yeah, that's it.
Right. So, how did SF come about, sir? Why did you think of joining SF?
See, my father was already serving, and again, there was no pressure that what you want to choose. I had a pretty means physically capable time in IMA and NDA. So physical capabilities was never a question. As far as taking stress and strain, yes, it was never a question. So, and we had some very amazing instructors whom I'm still in touch with from way back from IMA, NDA. And in fact, in NDA, most of the thoughts got aligned with the Special Forces mindset. And there were 4 or 5 of us. We had already made up our mind that in IMA, we are going Special Forces. We're not going anywhere else. So we carried it along. When the time came, we opted for it. And lucky enough, we got absorbed in Special Forces. So that's how I look at it. Yeah.
Right, sir. So, what were your choices? So, do you have three choices, right? If I'm not wrong, when you fill up that form.
Yes. So it was Special Forces, Special Forces, Special Forces. 3 battalions I listed down one
Okay.
top, and rest means if you don't, then give me anything. I'm ready for it. So luckily means I did get allotted what I wanted.
Right, sir. So, can you tell us a little bit about two para, sir?
Yes. Again, my life has been a sequence of very good luck. I must thank the gods for that. And joining 2 Para SF was one such good fortune that came my way. Now, 2 Para SF is a very old battalion. It was raised in 1897 as Marathas, and post independence, then we were 3 Marathas. 3 Maratha got converted to 2 Para SF Maratha. So 2 Para, not SF, 2 Para. So 2 Para has got again a very long and illustrious history. We fought in around 25. We got 25 battle honors globally from First and Second World War. We got a Victoria Cross. Naik Yashwant Gadge got rest his soul. And subsequently, post independence in 1948, again we were in Nashera sector, Jangad sector. We got a battle honor for that. And 71 war. This is the only parachute regiment battalion which has been airdropped in actual war after Second World War. Uh, so that was in Bangladesh, and we were the first ones to reach Dhaka. We still have got veterans from that legacy who have participated in those operations, and 2 Para SF has been all over the place. Has got 3 Chief of Army Staff unit citations, which is very rare. Again, Ashok Chakra 1, which is Captain Harshan. Again, from my squadron, a year junior to me. So, yeah. Very, very, see, what good battalion, bad battalion, there are no bad battalions. But what makes some apart from the others are the kind of uh, integration that we have over a period of time with our history. People say, "Oh, what's history?" Means there's nothing to do with history. It's all present and future. What you're doing and what you will be doing. I think history does lay down a particular path for you, the higher path or the lower path, that is up to how you have worked on it. And as people who carry on that legacy, it somehow in the back of the mind is always there that I belong to this battalion. I can't do anything but the best, and that is what becomes a culture then, to be the best and to do the best. And that's how we were brought up in the battalion. And earlier we used to saying, "Hey, what's great about it, or what's it's just a burdensome thing because in your mess you got so much of silver, in your offices you got so much of mementos, and you're supposed to learn about everything and anything, and anybody can question you on that and quiz you on that, and if you are found wanting, then you had it." We used to find it irritating, or unproductive, that I'm in a special force. Why do I need to learn about this? Subsequently, you realize that it's the value of history which makes you more confident of yourself and as of the organization that you're working in. That the path that you've walked on in the past also guides you towards your future, right? If you've been a thief in the past and expecting to be a priest in the future, it's very difficult to think on those lines. But if you've been a warrior in the past, today you would want that same ethos or same aura to continue while you are executing things. So that's how we were brought up, and I think, yes, it's not just officers, it's the Jawans, it's the JCOs, everyone. Again, the culture is only shown by how you are right now. It's not part of, unfortunately, I found it missing in corporate. I still am, we are still in touch, all the veterans of the unit. Most of them hail from Maharashtra. So if I am to go to Maharashtra, I'll find one or the other in every district who will be ready to host me. I just have to drop one message. So that's the kind of bonding and family culture. I may not have served with them, but I met so many of them. We meet with equal zeal and equal love and affection and respect. So that's what makes, I think, Tupera great. That the kind of roots that we have, and needless to say, the tree is the way it is. So, yeah, great
Right.
battalion to be in.
Yeah. Sir, they are also known as the predators. Why is that name given to paras?
See, every unit, Predators came about, I think, Predators came about in 2008, 9, something like that. Every special forces unit wants to have its identity, right? As a catchword or the catchphrase. So, like, 10 para SF is desert scorpions and so on and so forth. So, predators, basically, we were into both jungle, means jungle warfare, not jungle warfare, as in open terrain warfare, as well as built up area warfare. So, we were utilized in that. That is one of the senses. Second is that we are invisible, yet we are effective. So, taking cue from the Predator movie, that you can't see us, but we can see everything. So that's one of the main mottos, like the silent professionals, some call themselves. Because special forces, you'll not find them wearing a beret or all the badges. I've hardly worn it. Not even 10% of my entire service. So you'll not find us boasting about anything or making you- social media presence felt or something like that. We'll work silently in the background. You'll not even know we were there, and that's how we do things. So yes, that's why the predators, and we give that name to ourselves.
Right. So special forces units are deployed so much in operations that there's no time to wear maroon beret, like you mentioned.
Not even that.
Always in combat uniforms.
Even if you're not deployed, you would not. Means it's not the maroon beret that draws you to that work. It's the work that draws you to that work. So it's not. Sadly, some people think, or some people do approach the battalions for probation with that mindset that I will wear a maroon beret. glamorous uniform, and I'll get paid good money as well. But those are wrong reasons. Those are very, very wrong reasons if anybody wants to join Special Forces. Special Forces is all about experience, the actual combat experience, and having firefight is the last thing that you look forward to. It's all about the preparation to that firefight. That is what you're working upon 90% of the times. Uh, Fine tuning your intelligence collection drills, fine tuning your combat skills, fine tuning your special skills, training, uh, thinking, talking. Even in our parties, we would discuss only these things. That after two drinks, I think this radio set will be able to do better if I use it like this. The other guy is okay, sir. Then let's do it tomorrow. So, I mean, that kind of thing. So it's all about operations and how to be successful in that. How uh, what they say, the strategic couples means one person doing something having a big effect or impact of 1,000 people. How to create that and where to create that? Where is the center of gravity? Finding the enemies or the adversary center of gravity and addressing it with the minimal if effort. So to say, in organizational terms, in the Indian Army terms, 6 people is a minimal effort. But Udi happened, right? Post Udi strikes happened. So, how to create that kind of effect or impact with the minimal exposure? That is what most of the times we are thinking. And uniforms, they come very late in life. I mean, people have not even recognized me amongst my boys as an officer. Is that kind of means, dirt bags we used to be, and after operations, like I remember coming onto a post and occupied by some other unit. So we were just passing through. So we thought we'll have a meal on this side. They knew that we were coming. So the 6 of us came out of the jungle in the morning and went to that post. So the sentry opened the gate and we came inside. We cleared our weapons and then the sentry asked, came came to one of the guys standing next to me. साहब कौन है? एक अफसर भी आना था वो कहाँ पर है? तो the guy pointed to me. ये साहब है. So means uniforms or glamour or being in means glam, especially for officers. I think it's beyond that. It's more of a grime and dust kind of thing that we really like to do. Yeah.
Right. So you'd have to be really, really passionate about the kind of work that special forces units do to excel in those units, right? Is that the right
Oh
understanding?
yes, that's a perfect way to put it. That you have to be passionate about it, and then you have to have a environment or a family support is also very important. So that is also one of the things that one looks at once you are working in special forces. That everybody has to understand what you're doing and has to be supportive. You can't do it alone. Being a normal human being, unless you are totally cut away from the world, you're just one man army gladiator. Go wherever you are required to do whatever you're supposed to be doing. I think it is the environment which has to be supportive of your efforts, both at home as well as in the organization. Uh, Passion definitely drives it, uh, but every day, waking up every day and getting to do the same thing, I think it's more of a commitment, personal commitment that drives it. And yes, that's what I look at it. That means it couldn't have been without passion, definitely. But every day is not about passion. Someday it's just the dirty old grunt work that you have to do, the unglamorous one. And for that, you just require commitment that this has to be done and personal integrity in that, that even if nobody is looking at me, I'll still have to do it. So that's what is the biggest thing that I look forward to when I look at a special operative. That tomorrow, even if he, wherever he is in life, he will be firstly committed to the cause. Secondly, I'll not have to supervise him. He'll understand his broad brush understanding of the strategic requirements, the operational realities will be very, very sorted, and he will be able to find a solution with minimal effort or minimal impact. So that's how I look at what we do, where we do it.
Right, sir. So, after IMA, you joined 2 Para SF for your probation,
Hmm.
and it was in Op Parakram, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, it was in Parakram, very right. And,
Right. So, can you tell us a little bit about Op Parakram for people who don't know, and then about your probation experience?
oh yeah, so during Parakram, I joined in end December of 2001, and the unit was already deployed forward in CI Ops. At that time, they had not moved for operations as such, Parakram. So we reached the rear office or the rear base was in Udhampur. That's where we did our probation initial part. And then we went up to the teams. In the teams again, we did a part of our probation come operations. Now, once you're initiated into operations, you're initiated as a not as an officer. You're initiated as a soldier. So you do whatever a soldier, normal commando does. So you walk uh, the talk, whatever you've learned. Your NCOs teach you a lot of things. Your team officers teach you a lot of things because you're into actuals. There's no uh, scope of error. You can't say, I'm sorry. Please give me another chance. What happens in training? If you fail something, they give you another chance. So there's no scope of error or mistake. So you're taken through the paces very deliberately. And post that, when the battalion got deployed for Operation Parakram tasks, the actual combat war tasks, uh, again, very lucky that it happened early on in my life because at that time it was very realistic. We had real targets that we were given. We had got real objectives that we had to achieve, and the deployments, everything. There was nothing notional that यहाँ पर ये होगा वहाँ दुश्मन आएगा. It was everything was in front of you. We went through the entire planning process, preparation process, from a scratch to being ready at 24 hours notice. That today morning 9 o'clock, if you tell me that please launch, tomorrow night I will launch. I am ready. I just need to tie up a few things and I will launch. So that kind of readiness we had. Mm, what that brought into the fore is not just what you are supposed to do, it is how you are supposed to do in actual combat. Because I saw then everything happening as per actuals. We measure down the weight from weight of one sock, how many number of socks we needed to carry, or how many number of ammunition belts we needed to carry. What would that weigh when it becomes a whole package for that operation per person? So it came out to somewhere around 36 kgs to around 42 kgs per person you are supposed to be carrying. And once you're carrying those loads, you start walking with those loads, you realize that it is tough. It is tough even to walk on a plain road, leave apart the high altitude areas where we were supposed to operate. Nevertheless, we pushed, and we reached a place where every one of us was comfortable in lugging those loads, carrying out operations that we were supposed to carry, and had the clarity of purpose and also their task in the team. So all these things working out together and coming on to that culmination that yes, now this body of troops is ready to go to war. That is a very big learning. Never happened again in my life, and but it did give me a lot of lessons on how to prepare if I had to prepare troops for the task. Subsequently, as a senior officer, that how to do it, I was very clear about it, and It lasted for around 3 4 months. The bonding again increases a lot. I was a junior most officer, so um, task wise, yes, I was the most heavily loaded, uh, as in the things, but taking care of from the senior officer side. Again, I was the first one to receive any kind of partial treatment towards some kind of break. So yes, that kind of bonding never happened again because we were ready preparing for actual operations and never sure that who is going to come back or not. So we were enjoying every day. We were working hard every day, and yeah, it was a great time to be in.
Right. Sir, so we've heard in podcast that in during probation, your limits are tested. They see what is the limit that you can go to. So during that process, sometimes people lose their lives as well. So how is that handled in the army? How does the army handle that
Handling of loss of life during training.
during probation? Yeah.
Probation, yes, I don't think probation is designed to kill anybody. Uh, Probation is designed to test your limits, you're right. But then there's always a safety valve mechanism that is there. That is that if you're not able to do, please, any day you can say, I am not able to do, and go back to where you came from. So that is there. Loss of lives, yes. Many things are undocumented or unofficial, as we say. People in the past have gone through certain experiences which they personally feel would be beneficial for the new probationer to go through as well. Might be put through that. Yes, I have heard of things when probationers died because of excessive drinking or falling from places. In fact, many have not died, they've also gotten injured and gone back. And they have been injured for the rest of their lives in the sense that they did not recover from the injuries. Uh, how does Army handle it? Army handles it in the most professional way that it is supposed to. And any kind of blame that is to be put on it is done very fair and square. Uh, the intent, I think now the people are getting more aware to things, as in that kind of gung ho attitude is no longer tolerated or expected, and it is not adding any much value to your mental capability or physical capability as such. So we do tend to earlier on, because I remember in my times, uh, throughout the day you would be at the training area. You come back, the officers would make you drink. You would do night duties. Then in the morning again, you would follow the same routine, repeat. So now nobody does that. I don't think people like to do that. We are more into a professional kind of approach towards testing the probationers, be it jawans or officers, and more of an informed approach or a very deliberate approach towards evaluating the capabilities. So yeah, that again has changed because of these incidents itself. So I would agree with you on that.
Right. Sir. So, sir, we've also heard that in special forces units, command is not given to you. You have to take it because the ranks don't matter uh, when you're into special forces units. So, how was your experience as a young officer when you took command during an operation?
Given or taken, I think the organization ensures that
Yeah.
you are answerable for anything and everything if you are leading a body of troops, and everywhere that is followed sacrosanct. Yes, the acceptance level of troops, it does matter, and it does affect the way you do things, or vice versa. The way you do things does affect the way things turn out to be. Uh, how you look at it personally, I think, see, we are all human beings, right? Irrespective of officers or jawans or anything. Human beings, as a nature, are social beings. So we like to be part of groups. We like to be part something called society. Uh, So one thing that we do is we place the group above our own personal identities in the army. And if the Jawans find that you are part of that group, irrespective of your rank or irrespective of your demeanor, you're still the part. I might be abusing them every day, but even a father abuses you every day, right? But you still love your father. So it's something like that. Uh, so if they find that you are there for the good of that group, you're there for the betterment, you don't have any personal agendas behind it, they will support you with everything and anything that they have at their disposal. No questions asked. And like I said, those bonds are formed for life. It is not 1 day or 2 days. And unlike corporate, where you change a company and you don't have to bother about the people you were there with earlier, uh, that is the biggest advantage of being in a structured environment. And especially with me, means like from being from special forces to para, and then having led 12 para SF, uh, I think the organizational commitment is what everybody and anybody can understand. That does this person have it or not? You don't need to know English. You don't need to know any other foreign language. You will understand it. That is this person for himself or is he for us? So the moment that is understood, I think that solves half of the thing. You don't have to tell anybody, "Hey, I am an officer," because you just have to make them understand that you are a capable person, able to understand and resolve their issues for them, and at the best of their capabilities, whatever they may be. So that is all that people need. I think Faujis are very simple people that ways, and they really take things positively or look at the positive side of life. So yes, I mean, if you look at it, you don't have to ever boss upon them that, oh, can't you see that I'm an officer talking? Why are you replying back? We got a very open atmosphere as far as that is concerned. People can say no anytime. Like we are a volunteer force, right? So you can say no anytime. You're not comfortable with, you can say no, which is okay. And it is okay both ways. That he can say no, I can say no. So I think that is understood and that is respected, and that is what is respected actually. If somebody is going as a gladiator, people do find such. We do find such officers as well. Sometimes once in a blue moon, and then certain problems do come up. But then the organization is self-correcting and very very well at that. So हो जाता, things get sorted out.
Yeah, so in our army setup as well, Jawans are given a lot of importance because they also come with a lot of experience, which a young officer might not have at that time.
Yes.
Because yeah, so and in SF units, I think it is like much more important because it is actual combat experience that they come with, right?
Uh, you might say that, yes, but again, like I said, that more than bronze, brains are respected. Bronze are there, but then you pass that threshold. That's why you're in the unit threshold of physical capability. So after that, the only difference between you and I would be that both of us can run as fast, both of us can climb as fast, carry as much load. But who can think better when you're doing
Right.
that? So combat experience, my like it happens only not even 1% of the entire effort in special forces in combat, actual combat. So combat, we take it as a matter of chance. But what you did once you made that happen is what matters. You saw five militants, you opened fire, you didn't get even one of them. Vis-a-vis, you saw two and you got two. So which is better? So that kind of thing, who can think fast on their feet and who can think logically, and yeah, I think that makes a lot of impact on everyone, and that's how it is. Uh, talking about how things should be. I think that's I don't know, maybe getting on with things. I think it could be better with the present day kind of things that are going around. Uh, the combat scenarios are changing very fast. Troops are more aware to the level of falling prey to social media rumor mongering, falling prey to uh, psyops, psychological warfare, false media reportage. So that's a risk as well as an opportunity, which I think we should be able to use, or we should use to make our teams function better. That's a scope that we have as of now, but unfortunately, I can't do much about it. The place where I am right now. So, yeah.
Right. So you mentioned that things could be better. So can you elaborate on that in what sense you were saying that?
See, like it comes up in my book as well, which I'm writing, that the present Gen Z, which we talk about, their expectations are totally different. Their approach towards problem solving is very different. Their patience levels are very different, and they're more seeking experiences rather than connecting. This is happening in the army also. So it's a generation kind of thing, right? It's not just the corporate that is affected. In the army also, the things are changing now, especially with youngsters, the jawans as well as the officers. Uh, they expect respect. They expect to be treated fairly. They expect to be looked out, looked upon as professionals without at much personal cost. Means you start my report card with 100, and then participation medal, so to say, and then I will put in whatever I can. And if I do not like it, I'll move on. And I'll take very, very calculated steps towards my career progression. Uh, so that's how it is right now, or is going to be in the coming few years. We have started seeing signs of it, whatever I keep on hearing. And what we can do about it is see, the times are changing. The leaders need to start to change their thoughts as well. Start to firstly acknowledge that this is going to be an issue. Subsequently, then work upon have an open dialogue about it as to what are the expectations, both sides. The individual expectations, what are they? Organizational expectation, what are they? We will tell the how do you get them to match or merge? Uh, Technology will play a very important part in all these things, and also the kind of exposure that we have as of today as officers. I think the moment it is top driven, it still remains a pyramidal organization. So it's very easy to implement and put on a responsibility table as to who is to do what and what is to be delivered. So implementation should be easy, but then the thought into the planning should go in now before it is too late. And like this Agniveer scheme has also not done any favors for anyone. I personal beliefs, I've seen it happen on ground now. So it's whatever feedback I get, it's not doing any favors for the army. It's again eroding that kind of thing that we had in the army, which was permanence, so to say. That somebody comes in, he is here with you for life, and till the time you see him off at the Shamshan Ghat, he is there with you. He is a friend and buddy. But I don't think this Agniveer scheme is doing any good to anyone, especially the organization.
Right.
So yes, there are so many things to be worked upon, but I'm sure people who are capable enough can do that.
Right. So you mentioned Agniveer, right? So during training and everything, brotherhood is what like make joints you, right? joins the Jawans and the soldiers. So do you think that is all that gets compromised a little bit in that setup?
Agniveer, yes, because for the next 4 years, that person is not thinking about anything else but being able to make it to the permanent cadre. So for him, team doesn't matter. For him, organization doesn't matter. For him, his job matters. नौकरी उसको चाहिए. He wants to ensure his job is secured. So that's what he's working towards. Human tendency, right? So I don't think we are wasting the best 4 years of his life, and we are inculcating a habit of individual over organization, which over 4 years will get embedded in his system. Even if he makes it to the permanent cadre, don't you think it will not change over a period of time? Subsequently, he'll continue like that only. He'll be a selfish person. He'll be a self-motivated or self-concerned person that I, me, myself, rest everybody can take care of themselves. So I think it is very counterproductive at the human level, at the thought level. Calculation wise, people can give you thousands of calculation why Agniveers are beneficial, but the core of it, the organizational requirement is not being met. I personally feel, if you look at it from the human angle point of things. So it is going to be tough coming years. I think it remains to be seen.
Right.
So officers generally don't have that problem because they cadre specific, and they know that if you are permanent cadre, you are permanent. If you are a short service cadre, you know you are a short service cadre. But then that responsibility from day one till the time you move out is 100%. It's not that you will be 4 years in limbo. You can keep hanging around and then we'll give a responsibility of an officer. That is not there. Even for a short service officer, the day you join, you are taking that pledge to go anywhere by air, land, or sea to the peril of your life. So that is there. But for Agniveers, that is going to be the biggest problem, and they are going to be the chunk, the working force. 4 years over a period of 4 years in many of the units, they are going to be the what you can say the power bank of the battalion as far as the work is supposed to be done or execution on ground is supposed to be done. And if that power bank is not is only thinking about itself, how do you think the organization would come out after that? So yeah, maybe a bit strong, but yes, that's how I feel about it.
Yes. So your first combat experience was in Op Parakram as well?
Before that, during probation,
Okay. Can you
so
elaborate a little bit about that?
that was a very interesting experience. Uh, See, I was nearing the end of my probation, and that is the third month, maybe in March. Yes, and we were in South Kashmir, one of the posts, and having gone through all the multiple operations before that, ambushes, patrols, cordon and search and destroy, so on and so forth. I was asked to, as a test exercise, that Shekhar, today you will be the squad commander or the troop commander, plan a operation, and go as per the paces what we have been doing. You'll be the one who will be leading it. Okay, fine. I get onto the map. I go to the intelligence guy. I said, where is collect some kind of workable intelligence, and then we plan it. I do the briefing. We launch in the night. It's going to be a 48 hours ambush. I selected a place on top of a ridge. Now that ridge is covered with snow in March, and when we are climbing from the foothills, I think we found that the place where we were going to sit in ambush, there is no track. Generally, the snow, if somebody has been moving around, uh, you find a track, a snow track or something. You didn't find anything, so we said, okay, we'll go further higher. By the time we are daylighted, and but since being higher reaches, there's nobody around, so we make as fast as we can. We set up an ambush in something called Gujar Dhokes. They are the local shepherds or the graziers who set up mud houses for the summer time when they come up to graze their cattle on the top of the ridges. So we occupied 3 dogs. We sat for the day, and those dogs are like mud dogs, so they start dripping once the sun comes out because they're covered with snow. And since we walked throughout the night, uh, we are all sweaty and wet inside, so we are cold outside as well as inside uh, during the day. In the evening, then these two guys they walk in, and they walk in from the other side of the ambush, and we are like spread over around 300 meters. So I see them coming in, and they reach the first point where we had set up people, and they're looking on the other side, and there was no communication. So they're coming from the back side. So now I have got two options: either I let them come in and let them close in. So I was sitting on the third point, one, two, three. So they've crossed one, they're reaching two. Two is looking towards another, not looking at the track where which they were taking. So again, I don't know, at that time the radios were not very reliable. I'm not able to communicate with anybody. So finally, I let them walk in, walk in, walk in, and by the time they reach two, now they are at the center. So we were already ranged in and everything. I pressed the trigger, nothing happened. I said, what? What is this? I pressed the trigger again, nothing happened. In excitement, I had forgotten to put down my safety catch. So my weapon is still on safe, and I'm trying to shoot somebody. And the guys are waiting that because I am supposed to open fire as a point of the ambush where I am. So, and then they will open. Then I put my weapon on fire, lay it down, and then I open fire. These guys also open fire. Those guys they get injured, they get back. By the time the everybody hears it, they start looking around, they see these guys, and then this guy gets shot. So the entire sequence is around 1.5, 2 minutes. Uh, we killed the area commander of South Kashmir and district commander of South Kashmir uh, in one go, and both were A1 category terrorists. And by the looks of it, they were not much, but then we did get two successful terrorists down. We brought them down, and yeah, so that was it. I mean, learning lessons, stress, things you do in stress, you have to be more aware as to what you're doing. Controlling your excitement becomes very difficult because when someone you've been wanting to meet is coming to meet you, the closer they get, it gets more dangerous for you. Secondly, also on the flip side, it also gets more lucrative for you because the closer they are, the higher the chances that you will be able to neutralize them. So that is a balancing act that you have to do. That how close or how far should you take the meeting, and that is second. And thirdly, the one which came out in our subsequent debrief, my commanding officer at that time. During the debrief, he asked one question: how much of ammunition did you use? And we used somewhere around 160 rounds of ammunition. So he said, how many on the bodies? I said around 50 to 60. So he said, how many would you take to kill one person? I said, one, two, three, maybe maximum three. So he said, six for two. So what was the need of firing the extra ammunition? So that point really stuck to me for the rest of my life. That it's not about the effect you create, it's also what you use to create the effect that differentiates you as a special forces operative from your counterparts in the army. Uh, that has again maybe helped me. Subsequently, we have had been very successful operations with minimal expenditure. That thing having because a real professional would do that, right? दिवाली तो कोई भी मना सकता है, but firing for effect is what we talk about. So we should fire for effect only, not just joke around in the place or just get to be in what you can say is बेकाबू नहीं हो जाना. बेकाबू नहीं हो सकते आप. You can never be बेकाबू. You have to be in control of whatever you're doing. So that was a very great lesson that I learned. That
Right, sir. Sir, any challenging operations in Kashmir that you were a part of that challenged you physically or mentally?
challenging, yes. Amarnath Yatra is always a challenging task for all the forces that are involved. Because if you realize you're securing something which is unsecurable, uh, all the routes which go either from Baltal or from Pelgam, it's around 30 to 40 kilometers of track that you have to cover. Points of failure are so much, and the terrain is very difficult. Sustenance is difficult, plus so many civilians moving around who are not from the place. So unknown people who are moving around. You don't know who is what. And so physically, yes, we had to climb from in order to secure the periphery. We were given a responsibility that general area around the Amarnath Yatra, you have to sanitize it for presence of any terrorist. So we climbed from Sonamarg side. There are two ways to climb, from Belgaum side or Sonamarg side. So we climbed from Sonamarg side. We came up to a point called, there are two beautiful lakes on the top left side of Belgaum. If you go, they're called Tarsar Marsals. So it's become a trekking spot now, I believe. We came up to that place, then we went down towards, we laid ambushes for 2 3 days over there. Climbing up again took us around 2 nights. Yes. And one Nala crossing, or Nala, not even Nala, it was like a frozen Nala, very steep. We had to cross it horizontally, and we would have lost some lives that day. Luckily, we did not. People did lose their footing and fell down, and but the good training and things did really help us. And secondly, because we crossed it in the night, we did not realize it was so steep. When we saw it in the day, next day, we wouldn't have crossed it in the day, never. So in the night, we did cross it. We could have lost some lives, but we were lucky, including mine. So we were lucky enough that we did survive that. Yeah, and so those 2 3 days were really nice. But again, that is only point I believe that one should not go too much of gung ho. Over prepare. There is no such thing as over preparation. We could as easily roped us up ourselves up or carried a few crampons or something. Climbing equipment we did not, assuming that there would be no snow because it happens in summers, right? It happens in July, August. So that time you don't expect any snow, but then you were at a height where there was. So we could have prepared better. So that again was every operation like this. I did make a mental note of it that there's no such thing as over preparation, and it's better to be over prepared and under required than vice versa. So yeah, so that was and touchwood till today I have not lost a single boy in any operation or even had a means life-threatening casualty. So that has been there with me throughout.
Right. So you've served in the Northeast as well, right? Uh,
Yes,
how was that experience? Any experiences
I
there?
commanded my battalion 12 para SF in Northeast. So at that time, and now they're deployed in Siliguri and beyond. So we had some troops operating in Nagaland as well, and the battalion has done really well there, and both against China as well as the terrorists. So, and they continue to be there. So, Northeast again, in Northeast is a insurgency, it's not a terrorism. We need to understand the difference. They are our own people, and the culture of Northeast is totally different vis a vis the mainland. Culture in the sense it's not to antagonize anybody, but then there's a way of life that every region has, right? And we need to respect their requirements and their again needs, and we need to work upon it as a country, which we are doing now. So people I found to be very very energetic, very honest. I mean, integrity wise, definitely. Common man is very means you would find shops, vegetable shops. They get vegetables from their fields. They'll put a bamboo planks, put the vegetables on that, and put a donation box or a payment box right next to it. And there'll be nobody sitting on that. You come up, you pick up the vegetable. They'll be priced. You put that money in the box. So you can't even imagine that in mainland. That is a kind of integrity that those people have, and it's a cultural thing. So, and very warm people, very hospitable people. Cuisine is amazing. Physically, the place is very beautiful. The entire northeastern region, and yes, operating there was a learning lesson in itself. They because in the north you have a clear black and white line that either he is not a terrorist or he's a terrorist. In northeast, that's not so, and in north, if there is a terrorist, he needs to be killed. In northeast, it's not so. You can apprehend, you can take surrenders, you can do so many things, and it's uh, it's an interesting. It's a huge topic unto itself, the entire northeast. But operating there, yes, has been a very good experience for me, both as in terms of delivery of results and also in terms of the personal experiences with the people over there. I am really very, very it's happy that I got to go there and got to work there. Yeah.
Right. And operation there are challenging more because insurgents are from that area. They know the area much better
Yes,
than
that is
outside.
true. And they are, see, the home advantage is with them. We are outsiders. No matter how much hard we have trained, there are certain things that they do it as second nature, and we may or may not train for it also. But yeah, the operations are very challenging, both in terms of the weather that is there, the flora and fauna. It is very thick, and also as far as the connectivity or communications goes, the road connectivities and all those things, very very minuscule. And since they are less in number, the way you can travel or reach a place, you are more susceptible to your personal damage rather than inflicting damage. So that makes it a challenge in itself. If you can't use a road, you have to walk it. You can't walk on the road, you have to walk in the jungle. It takes four times the actual time it would have taken. Uh, Leeches, mosquitoes, climate related, weather related injuries or sicknesses are galore. So you have to watch out for that also all the time. And yeah, and people are so the terrorists or insurgents, we can say, are more professional about whatever they do, and they've been into that. Some have been for ages, and they've got proper military ranks and all those things. So they really take pride in what they do, and yeah, that really does affect us also when we approach things. And s- that's it. It's not like a typical North Indian Kashmir terrorist who takes 2 months training, comes here, and then sits in people's houses and enjoys. They really lug it out, and they really uh, work very professionally. Definitely, yes. That you have to give it to them.
So, any operations that you have led there in the Northeast?
Yeah, I've led a couple of cross borders there in 2019 and 20, and I can't take credit for it because the execution part was done by my teams. I was the commanding officer. So yes, personally, I have gone along with the boys, but then merely in a supportive capacity or in a coordinating capacity, because any cross-border operation requires a lot of back-end coordination with the higher authorities. So I didn't want to burden them with that, so I went along with them. And in both the cases, yes, we were successful, and we were able to deal blows that were felt by the people, and it really changed, brought some people back to the discussion table, or brought some people out of the equation, and made them think twice before doing anything untoward. So yes, both were really good operations, and I'm happy that people got awarded for it as well, and appreciated for whatever they've done. And these operations also make you look at things from a third dimension. Like you see today that Ukraine war, there's so much of drones being used. I think we started thinking or utilizing them at that time, 2019. I'm talking that we had the capability to drop explosives also from the drones, but we did not. We just used them from surveillance. But we could have done that. Uh, that was always a capability that existed. Uh, but surveillance, yes, drones did help a lot during that time as well. We realized it in the first operation that we didn't have any vertical coverage, which we should have had. And second operation, we included it, so it was even more effective than the first one. So, yeah, nice two operations we had. I can't talk much about it because being the nature of
Yes,
operations,
sir.
but then yes, it has been there.
Yes, sir. Sir, you've operated in the jungles of Kashmir as well and in the Northeast. So, any wild animals experiences that you've had?
Wildlife animals, yes, we were sitting in Kupwara on top of one of the ridges, and in an ambush, and we had we started taking, being a special forces unit, troops from all over the countryside. So it was not a class composition per se, now Marathas or anything. But Marathas was still a majority, but we would take troops from the other part of the country as well. So we had this, again, uh, northeast guy. He was sitting, we were sitting in a circle facing outside. So, second day, he heard something of a, like a dog is crying or something. So I said, I looked back, I said, what's going on? So he said, nothing, कुछ नहीं साहब, कुछ नहीं. क्या हो गया? कुछ नहीं साहब, वो भालू का बच्चा है. So the second day out of boredom, he has been given their natural skills for hunting. He has lured a bear cub to come, and then he's gotten hold of his nose and he's trying to put him in his bag to take it back. तो ये कहाँ से है? कुछ नहीं साहब, इधर घूम रहा था, मैं रोटी डाला है तो आ गया. तो said, where do you leave it? The mother must also be somewhere around. She'll tear you apart. So that was one of the nicer experiences of being in northeast. Lots of leeches. So that's the only wild animals you'll find in northeast. Rest are all either killed or in a process of being killed. But leeches, lots of leeches, and it's an experience unto itself when you see them and how they operate and where all they can operate. You will be amazed at their skills in getting to places where you thought were not reachable. But yes, leeches are a very, very eye-opening experiences. People won't understand that unless you've had a leech stuck to you between your toenails or between your toes. So you won't even realize how it reached there. So yeah, beaches are northeast. I'll give it to that. In Sukna, we've had a lot of elephants. We are sitting right next to Siliguri. We're sitting right next to Mananda Wildlife Sanctuary. So it's a traditional elephant route for transiting towards Nepal. So they do pass through our location. and they do pick up things which they want to pick up. And from the cook house, they would pick up atta, rice, so on and so forth. When mangoes come, they will stand under the mango tree, and you must see that it is a sight to be seen. That one elephant will shake the mango tree by rubbing against it, rest of them will eat. And they'll know when the mango is ripe, then only they'll start shaking. So, yes, very interesting kind of. Wildlife has not been a problem. It has been all over the place. One has been very lucky to have served that way. And Congo was the best because I served for 1 year in the Congo and we were living in Virunga National Park. So now Congo never had any forest department to implement things. So we would drive past for patrolling, and there were means deer and deer and deer you can count, and you would take your vehicles behind the deers and move all over the place. Elephants, hippos, mountain gorillas, so silverback gorillas that I've seen free of cost. People pay around $600 for that. So, yeah, wildlife.
Sir, how was Congo? We've heard that the
Congo
situation
means,
is.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's again been a very satisfying 1 year that I got to spend there. Why satisfying? Because mostly we are trained to kill, right? That is, killing will save the people. Here, just our presence would save the people. Just our presence in the places where people were in danger, we would just go there and things will normalize or things would not go bad. Or and so much of good that you could do as a person, human being, to another human being without any personal cost. I think that's the biggest achievement of UN as of now. That you are able to means personally we were able to get the child soldiers out of their jobs. We were able to normalize them. Uh, we were able to get a number of rape victims and help them out with their medical recovery. We would take out gunshot victims, take them to hospitals, so on and so forth. Prevent any kind of rebel massacres or so on and so forth in the areas that we were present. They would suspect that they're going to come there. We would simply go there, plonk ourselves in a temporary operating base in the vicinity of the particular locality for the next 1 week, 10 days. As soon as we know that the things are okay, we would move back. So, yeah, you were able to do so much of good. Secondly, you were able to travel a lot, meet a lot of people, experience the world, so to say. When you are in UN, the people from all walks of life, all continents of the world. So, overall, a very nice experience. Yes,
Yes, sir. Sir, can you tell us a little bit about Captain Harshan or Nair Ashok Chakra?
Harshan, God rest his soul. Uh, like I said, he was in my squad, a year junior to me, and he joined us from Sainik School, Kadakottam, that is in Kerala. Uh, hailed from a very good family, and he was the middle brother amongst three. Uh, so when he joined NDA, he was like, we've seen him a good basketball player, a good. He was not very good at running, but then he made up his mind, and by the time he passed out, he was a medalist amongst 1800 odd cadets that run the cross country. He was a medalist in cross country. So yeah, I would have to give him that. Then he was a very good orator, and a very emphatic orator, and very humble human being most of all. He was not very vociferous or very glamorous, so to say. Very, very humble, down to earth, connected person. And yeah, he joined the unit in 2003. Yes, after Parakram. We came down. We were deployed in Valley. He joined there. Then we came down. We spent some good times in Agra, where the battalion was there. Uh, Subsequently, I moved to Congo. He went along with the battalion to the valley again. By the time I came back, he was deployed with the team in Kupwara. I was deployed with a team in Srinagar. So we had a chat. He said that we should ask CEO that because distances were large, we couldn't meet after I came back from the UN. So I gave him a call. How are you? He said that we should ask CEO that we should get together once so that we can see each other's faces. Because officers generally would move in teams, go out on leave, come back and move in teams. So we wouldn't get to meet other officers during operations. So that we missed. And having spoken that, then I heard the next I heard was of his passing in an operation the next morning. Uh, so yeah, it was a sad loss. I mean, that person was kind of personal experiences he had in his life and the kind of calm he still maintained. And for such a young age, uh, it was amazing. The kind of maturity that person had. We still would talk to each other whenever I was in Congo, and he would ask me, "Okay, this is what we are going to do. How do you see this happening or that happening? Operations and so on and so forth." He would still take my advice because previous tenure I had been in those areas, so he was looking to reinforce whatever he was thinking wasn't right. So he was not a soul in the battalion would say that he did something bad to me or he was not a good person. Um, Amazing guy. He set out his mind. Best part was that he set out his mind to do anything, he would do it. We sent him on mountain warfare course, a Mallu officer going on mountain warfare course and excelling at that. So he broke the endurance records there as well. So when he came back, he was like, it's still as humble. नहीं sir वो था तो I did it. Something like that. So it was there. So I had to do it. I still remember him very fondly, the kind of person that he was. Great loss to his family, to us, to the nation. He would have made a
Yes.
great army officer.
Yes. Great human being and even better operator.
Oh, yes, anytime.
Yes. Sir, so now that we had talked about Kashmir, so now the situation in Kashmir has become active again, and there are few casualties of the Indian Army which is happening. So why is that? Why has Kashmir become active? And do you have any thoughts on that?
I think the geographies matter. The pain of geography will have to be borne through the ages. And as I look at it, the moment this political structure in the state changed, the manner of governance in the state changed. Kashmir Valley per se has got a different geography. Poonch Rajouri district has got a different geography, and the Jammu region has got a different geography if you look at it. Conducting counter-terrorist operations in Kashmir and in JNK, sorry, Jammu. If there is proper administrative support, is easier. It's virtually planes, and tracking is easier. Monitoring is easier. In between, this stretch of Rajouri and Poonch is still underdeveloped. If you look at it, approach from the POK side is very easy. There are numerous approaches. The terrain is very scraggy. It's not a continuous ridge. There are so many cuts and beetle type of ravines, you can say. Infiltration, if one wants, can do. Survival is easier because there are not any extreme temperatures or climates. It's not very high altitude or snow ridden, and it's not very low so that it's too hot. Uh, People are there. Majority of the people are from the Muslim community, and not all, but yes, there are some supporters. and that network, I think, works more on the lure of money than on the lure of motivation. So once the main reason for uprooting of networks in Kashmir was also tracking the flow of money, and based on that, the networks were rooted out. Similarly, I think has been overlooked in this area because being underdeveloped, it was traditionally looked at as a very low risk area. The last big operation happened, Sarvinash 2, I think, happened 2003, 4, if I'm right. I think, yeah, that time only we was in the north part of the Pir Panjals. So I think that is the time it happened. Post that, things have been very normalized in the region. There has been no major terrorist activities. So you see now the troops which are deployed there are on a rotational basis. They're not permanent troops, right? They come for 2 years, they go back. Next unit comes 2 years, goes back. Next, whatever was happening on the LC, the hinterland. Nothing was happening. Mm, I think over a period of time, that institutional memory of operations, it goes down, right? After two times the people set of people changes, if nobody has seen any actual combat, the third one will not know if combat is a reality here or not. He will be more interested in the administrative part of things. Uh, so that's what I personally feel has happened. That the institutional memory has gone down because of lack of active operations in that particular belt, and that has been made use of now for the last 1 year, wherein specifically uh, task people have been sent in to do specific tasks, and I followed these operations very closely as well because of the troops of certain battalions which were involved. And what I personally feel is that because of that kind of uh, thought that it will not happen here, any terrorist action will not happen here. Whatever was happening was that you would come to know of terrorists, you would go bust them and come back. Now it is the other way around. Terrorists are finding places to hit you and melt away into the jungle. So this is a change of psychology as such, that from the hunter you become the hunted, which is a very difficult thing for a person or an organization to get used. I think that kind of realization should have happened the first time over when this thing happened. It did not. We are wiser for it now, and motivations might be different, but you can't generalize it that way. Jada ho gaya, kam ho gaya. It was always there, but then the modus operandi has changed a lot. Yes, definitely, I'll agree with you on that. So we also need to similarly. It's the OODA loop, right? Whose is shorter? So we'll have to rewire our OODA loop now towards seeking more active contacts rather than passive contacts. That's how we should be looking at it.
Right. So now, if we talk about the Northeast, right? So Manipur situation is being talked about a lot. So, what are your thoughts on this, and how can we improve it? Because you've operated in
As
Northeast
a
for.
military man, I don't think there is any military lesson to be drawn from that. Uh,
Yeah.
it's a more of a politically motivated. Conjectures are the Chinese involvement and their intentions, but then there are conjectures. I think at the government level, higher level, intelligence levels, they would be more aware as to what the realities are, and I'm sure that they are capable enough to take informed decisions. Northeast, I think that ways we are handling it well, and we are capable of handling it better uh, as a country, as a government, even at the center of the state. So things are in process. I'm sure that things will get worked out. It's really sad the way things happened, the way they happened. Uh, but what I've said, and then I think it's not beyond the capabilities of our administration or organizations to manage or to come out of it. That's what I would say.
Right. Sir, you've operated with the SF in early 2000s and later as well. So, do you see any change in the mode of operations and the type of equipments that SF units used to use in the early 2000s and
Oh
later?
yes, a lot, a lot, a lot. I think simple thing as night sight used to be luxury with a scout, one scout, not even two. Now everybody has got a night sight. Whosoever wants will get a night sight. Communications have increased, improved a lot. Communication devices, and it's not just voice communication; it's data communication as well, which has improved a lot. Your surveillance capacity has improved a lot. You got micro drones, mini drones, hand launched, and so on and so forth. I was looking at things that were there in my battalion recently, and I was amazed. So much of equipment is coming, and things have been improving over a period of time. The new weapons that have come, the long range sniper rifles and pistols and all those things, really it means amazing. Notwithstanding, the number of people still remains the same. So, like I said, way back in 2002, if a soldier was carrying 36 to 42 kgs for an actual operation, I'm sure now it has increased. So that's what I keep asking the officers. I said, it's good, equipment is coming, how will you carry it? It's not just a bird that you'll have to carry. The most heavy thing in a bird is a battery. And if you're going out for 4 days, you'll have to carry at least one battery a day. So that's four batteries, maybe it's 4 kgs extra just to carry one bird. So would you do that? So how would you do that? So it becomes a logistical issue, yes. But equipment wise, definitely there is no cutting corners now. We never had skydiving parachutes for good about 8 9 years. Now we got parachutes sitting in the units, which you can just take it off from the shelf, wear it, call a local helicopter unit, and go for a skydive training, free fall training. You can have exercises day and night. You can track your skydivers sitting on the ground on the map. That where are my skydivers going? So the equipment wise, I think it's getting amazing and amazing by the day. And the only thing is that yes, the logistical issues we'll have to dovetail them into our normal day-to-day thinking. Otherwise, I think equipment-wise will never be a problem. It's the people. Like I've always believed that we've killed terrorists with AKs also without night sights. We've killed terrorists with wars also. So it was never about the rifles. It was all about the, and maybe we kill more with the AKs rather than the wars. So it is about the people. The man is the weapon. So that's how I'm looking at it now.
It's the person behind that equipment.
Yeah, the man is the weapon. The rest
Yes.
everything is an equipment.
Yeah. Understood.
So,
Sir, how was your skydiving experience? You-
oh
Like,
yes,
why are you so? Why do you
sorry.
like it so much? Why do you
It
like it
is,
so
it
much?
is, isn't it? Uh,
Yeah.
it's like being a bird. You can do so many things in the air, or the air can do so many things to you. Uh, the perspective changes, Aditya. Uh, you're sitting on ground. You're looking at it from an ant's point of view. The moment you go skydiving, you won't even realize the aircraft is moving. Means the perspective, the change of perspective. What I'm talking about. The moment you start falling, initial 2 3 seconds you will realize you're falling, then you will not even realize you're falling because nothing is coming closer, you're so far up. uh, and you can do whatever, you can feel the element, the weightlessness, the speed. You cannot feel the speed as such, but once you move around you can feel the speed. So that is there, and having a wing on top of your head and then guiding that wing as per your requirement to a place where you want to go, I think it's magical. Somebody who discovered or invented parachutes and skydiving, I think, deserves kudos for that. And I have skydived all over the place. I skydived in Bangalore, HL, then at Cape Town, Siliguri, many more places. So, yeah.
How was the first experience when you
First
skydived
was
for the
in
first
Cape
time?
Town. I was in UN. From there, I went on RNR. I went to Cape Town, skydive Cape Town, and there they have a facility right next to the beach. So it's like 1 kilometer inside the beach. So once the aircraft takes off, it is on the sea. Sometimes when the winds are from the sea to the land, they'll drop you on top of the sea. So Atlantic Ocean, so to say, not the sea. And you would wonder if you would go into the sea or the land. And the Table Mountain, which is the landmark of Cape Town, I think we were flying higher than that, so you could see the tabletop of the Table Mountain, which 99% of the Cape Town doesn't get to see. Uh, so first experience, since I was already a paratrooper, so they unlike, and I was expecting some kind of military, because military training always takes the fun out of things, right? They're very good at it. So the instructor comes and he asks me as to do I have any experience. I said yes, I have got some static line jumps and yeah, I've been in the aircraft before and I know how to exit. So he said, oh, that's very nice. So he took me inside. It showed me a video. This is how you're going to jump outside from an aircraft. This is what we are going to do. This is the signals we are going to use. And now I'll show it to you on a mock-up. So he took me to aircraft mock-up. We practiced one exit. And then he says, okay, go and wear a parachute. I said, for practice? No, we are going jumping. So within 1 hour, I am sitting in an aircraft along with two instructors, and it takes off. We do a circuit, and then we get out, and that's what had me from the word go. It was amazing, and yeah, I think the way means we took things then. I realized that yes, uh, like I was saying, the military way of doing things and the fun way of doing things. The learning curve is faster in fun way, but then executing during stress, I think the military way is the better one, because they grind it so much into you that you'll not forget ever. In your sleep also, you'll do the same thing. So that's the thing. Yes,
Do you do it even now? Skydiving?
I haven't for a while. I haven't, but it's on the cards. Let's see.
Okay. Sir, how was your experience of commanding 12 para SF?
12 para SF. I commanded the longest as of now. There have been fourth COs there in command. I was in the second one, and when I joined, the unit has been just raised, organized, and handed over, and they were doing pretty well uh, before I joined. But as you understand, that we had people coming from all over the special forces units who had joined, and also some recruitment or probations that we had run on our own. So most of them had previous allegiances to other units, right? So it's natural, like I said, social groupings. So people would group according to their previous units, which I found was counterproductive. So that was one of the efforts that I made towards resolving that no reference to any previous units. That is one. Second is um, I focus more on developing leaders rather than managing people. Because I knew that one person, either he can be directive about everything and get into nitty gritties of everything, or trust your leaders to do it and enable them to do it. Be ready to take uh, the mistakes, whatever they do during their delivery, and be ready to guide them. And that's what I did most of the times. So by the time I left, I could blindly send any of my officers or JCOs to any of the tasks that even the highest of the offices required us to do without ever worrying about monitoring them or enabling them. My orders were simple. I am available 24/7. Uh, Reach out in case you need any assistance. This is the task to be done. Do it how you want to do it. And if there are any mistakes, do let me know. I should be the first one to know, and so that I can initiate corrective action. Otherwise, feel free to work the way you want to do. and that kind of trust, like I said, was reciprocated in many terms. So yes, I served as the CEO for 40 months, which is very uncommon. And in those 40 months, yes, I did a lot of good things, and moved the unit to a new location, got them integrated, uh, did a lot of tree planting, did a lot of capability enhancements in super high altitude areas. So from survival of 4 days, we went up to 10 days capability. So that's humongous in super high altitude areas while operating in the open. So good that we did that, and people are taking it forward now. So it's like I said, it's the path that you walked on will also guide the future path that you take. So I think the present leaders are doing whatever has started, and they're doing it.
Right. So you sort of created the foundation on which it is getting built now. Can I is that right? If I put
Yeah,
it
in the
that way.
sense, foundation, yes, foundation was there, but then structure which I created over the foundation, the building जो ऊपर बना है,
Yes.
now people are busy fitting it out inside because it takes a long time for a organization or a unit to be a घर बनने में जो मकान का घर बनने में टाइम लगता है. So that is what is happening now. They're making it into a home, and I'm happy that they're doing it. But yes, that's what I did, and challenges are there. Yeah, if you are asking that, uh, personal level challenges definitely one can overlook because what we say in the army is that commanding officer is the only place where you are directly relating to the people, taking decisions on behalf of them, and implementing them without any oversight. And you can either do so much of good for them or so much of bad for them just by your utterances. So it's a double-edged sword. You can help or you can hurt. It's up to you what you choose to wield. So yes, uh, after command, everything looks like a downhill kind of thing as far as professional satisfaction is concerned, because you were able to effect so much of uh, work, so much of thoughts, so much of people with all your good intents, which you'll never be able to do again directly.
Right. So, is there a difference between commanding an SF unit and an infantry unit? Because the pressure is always on the SF units because of operations and the kind of work that
Oh yes,
goes involved.
very big difference. There's no parallel to commanding a SF unit in any other unit in the Indian Army. Okay. Firstly, like I said, at one point I had troops deployed in three commands of the Indian Army, spread all the way from Leh till Nagaland. Okay, and we had different taskings for everyone. It is not that all of them are doing the same thing. We had different groupings when somebody was moving in, somebody was moving out. It has always been thinking on your feet, trusting your leaders to do whatever they have been tasked to do, giving them the tools and enabling them to deliver their tasks. Uh, there is not much of personal interference. There's only support, and that's how I think we are very very different from the other organization, which are very very top heavy, top driven, orders driven. There's nothing as orders, by the way, for us. It's only intents that this is what is desired. Now you do whatever you want to do. So I think that is the biggest difference. So that enables that brings out the best in the leaders that we are trusting, be it officers or JCOs or Jawans. And that's where you'll find our leaders to be more confident in themselves and more capable in themselves. And I think that's where we make a difference. It's not just the battalion command, it's at every level we trust each other and we enhance each other's capabilities. So that's how we are what we are.
Right, sir. Sir, how is life post retirement?
Life is good. Life is very good. And although I retired for my personal reasons, the family reasons, and but nonetheless, professionally, I'm very satisfied with where I am today, working with Pratt and Whitney, and so I get to see the globe from a local perspective, which is very unique. Not many people have that opportunity, especially with Pratt and Whitney, which is touching the aerospace, the defense, and everything that is affecting us throughout the globe. Uh, does pass through my desk in one way or the other. Uh, we Personally, I get a little bit more time to do my personal hobbies. I like motorcycling. I have a small YouTube channel for that. I'm able to do some traveling then. Uh, Bangalore is a very nice place. It's got, for me now, the theme is forts and lakes around Bangalore. And if you just search for that, you'll find so many places around Bangalore. It's full of history. Within a radius of around 3 to 4 hours, there are n number of forts and dam and lakes, historical ones. So yeah, that's the theme for the local riding now. And rest, I'm writing a book as well. I'm pursuing. I started my PhD in risk management, and I'm also writing a small book about leading Gen Z teams because I noticed that it needed to be addressed, and there have been certain personal observations which I think will help people who are trying to get into the positions as to how to go about it. Yeah. Yeah. At special forces, I think we interact during the selection period itself. Uh, the processes are such that we get to find what a person is and what he can be, the capacity and the capabilities. So very early on in life, we were able to find the right people, right boys, right officers, just by following a few basic unsaid set of principles as to how to take care of a particular person. Take care in the sense how to handle a particular person. Uh, like certain people will have certain traits which need certain kind of actions, not only positive, negative, but also positive. So that's how that understanding people as far as how, what they respond to has been again a part of a special forces uh, learning that you need understand people very fast. You understand what they are about and how they are thinking, what makes them go very fast. So I think it needs to be addressed now. Basically, for Gen Z, I'm looking at we have experienced firsthand in the unit as well as now in the corporate as to how we can have a win-win. Uh, right now, it's at friction and everybody is worried uh, as the trends go. But how we can have a win-win, I think it should be a nice read, hopefully. But let's see how it turns out.
It will be, sir. Absolutely. It will be. Yeah. Sir, any advice for youngsters who want to join the army and SF?
Army or SF, I think joining is up to you, but then you'll not regret a single day of your life. That is one. The experiences you'll have, you'll not have to pay for that. That is the second one. And the experiences will be unparalleled and unequivocally superlative as far as enhancing your own personal capacities and capabilities are concerned. Uh, Only thing is that wherever you are, army or not, always focus on uh, developing your capabilities. What you are capable today, you should be more capable tomorrow. And it does not stop. The learning does not stop. Like I said, that I continue to do that, and because intentions can change overnight, capabilities cannot. That is the second thing I believe. So develop your capabilities so that in case your intentions change tomorrow, you are having a capable enough character to take care of that. And right now, people look at working in the army as being more restrictive or less financially attractive. I think there's an upside, a huge upside to being in the army on the personal level, and you'll not be the same person once you get out of the army and the way you joined. You'll be much, much, much better, and there's no amount of money that can buy that. And having served for 20 plus years without any, so to say, uh, means family wise, very rich background. Uh, means you can't call me poor. I have had the best of experiences in the life, and yeah, so money isn't everything, and the restrictive nature is not so restrictive that it prevents you from being a holistic, wholesome human being. So think about it, and you got these days they got so many opportunities, right? And nobody wants to put in that extra sweat and blood uh, for something which is as uh, hard as the military life. So if you are up to it, there are options, long term, short term, whatever you want to do. Have an experience, and I'm sure your life will be changed for better if you're looking at it. That's free of cost.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, sir. It was great talking to you. I'm sure people will draw a lot of inspiration from your experiences. Thank you
Thanks a
so
lot,
much for
Aditya. I really hope they do. And means I'm always available if anybody wants to reach out, or if you want to reach out for any personal discussions, please feel free.
sure. Sir. Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much,
Have
sir.
a good day.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.